X90, 1996, two-seater, two-door, too weird. But I need to figure out something to do with the interior. So let's have a look around. It is a hot and stinking day, but that's why I've taken advantage of some shade to park the car and figure out something to do with an internal piece of trim. Not helping much though, because it is still pretty hot on the roof above me. But anyway, this is the X90 that I picked up in July 2022 for, what was it, $1,300? Drove it home from northern New South Wales, 160 kilometres on a permit, and then set about getting it improved for daily use. And it's a fair way there, but it's still got a bit to go. Among the things I've done to it is had some new T-tops posted over from the US at some expense, but you know, they're kind of the whole thing with the car, so I figured rather than put up with a rusty one that you could poke your fingers through on this side, I would get a nice pristine one, not new, obviously 25 years old. And I got two of them. I had to replace the mechanism inside this. A small piece of plastic had broken in the one that was sent over. Thankfully the piece of plastic was good in the one I took out, so I just swapped it over. So now they're all good. And of course the other thing that the T-tops came with is in the boot. And these are worth some $100. People don't seem to hang on to them. They are the original velvet, not velvet, but vinyl soft insert sort of pouches to put your T-tops in when you take them out to protect them. And then you're supposed to stack them on top of the spare tyre, which normally sits here, which I have left at the Rust Wizard's house, so I've got to go and get that. So there'll be a spare tyre there soon, and then these can go on top of that if they happen to be out. And then there's tied into the floor, there's little catches that you secure over the top of it, like so. Anyway, that is a job for another day once I get the spare tyre and get the inclination to take the T-tops out again. I did take them out the other day and had a bit of a drive, and it was good. I also need to get a jack handle. That's disappeared for some reason. I've organised a brand new 19mm socket to do the wheel nuts, which I can use with my breaker bar that should be in there somewhere. So that's sorted. I just need to get the and the jack is kept in here. So I just need to get the actual jack handle sorted. And yeah, some of the work that's still yet to be done is at the back here. I mean, there's a little bit of surface rust showing there, a tiny bit next to the window that the rust guy has attacked with some rusting, killing sort of stuff. He's done that around the tops of the parcel shelf. Actually, there's a bolted join there, and it's covered by yeah, it's covered by, oh no, you might still be able to see it. Anyway, he's tidied it up. It was a bit unhappy looking up under those parcel shelf corners, but he has brushed them off and tidied them up. Not 100% fixed, but better than they were. But what is much better is this area where the boot clasps and seals. And you know, originally when I got it, just a bit of rust there, nothing, didn't look too big. And of course took this off and it went all the way along, and also included a strengthening bar that goes between underneath the bumper there in front of the fuel tank, maybe as a fuel tank protection measure, I'm not sure. But there's apparently some, I think it's called Rio behind the bumper, that's a bit rusty. So as I said, we will work on more as we need to, including getting rid of evidence of the old stickers. And as I have found, this window looks clean, but when it gets steamy, a message appears from the lady who sold the car about 8 or 9 years ago, saying for sale, 4x4 convertible, $3,900, written in some sort of texter, and obviously it's just sort of still there. You can't see it, only if it's really, really steamy. Anyway, so yes, I've been getting to know this vehicle. It still needs some work around the sills. Rust Wizard has improved that panel a bit, taken the dents out of it. Also improved this a bit, taken a couple of dents out of it. And he has done a lot of work with the sill here to improve that. I think basically the sill and the boot took up a lot of time and energy. But the cabin's okay. I mean, it's not factory fresh, but it probably, in fact, it does need a bit of armour oil to get rid of the dustiness and give it a bit more deepness. I'll get to that eventually. I've got a couple of belts that I want to replace in the engine. The seats are okay, they're just starting to wear, drivers especially, as you can imagine. So whether that means down the track that I will get some reupholstery done, I don't know. I'd just love to replicate the factory graphics, but I don't know that anyone would make anything like that. And then this is the stuff that I've found in this car. So apart from finding a job card with someone's name on it, and then I've looked up the name on Facebook, found who I thought was the right person, contacted them. Yes, it was the right person whose partner used to own this car. So I've found, that's the job card there. Other bits and pieces are in here. I don't know what they're all about. And I found a heap of 5 and 10 cent coins, probably 2 dozen, lying around the car, under the carpets and such. CD player doesn't work. The clock, long since out of time. And apparently it's a real annoyance to replace that clock. You have to take out most of the dash to get access. It doesn't come out easily. Bit of patina happening there. But it is kept out of the weather, so hopefully any degradation is slow. And as well as getting the new T-tops from the US, I got this tail light, because the one that was in there just had a couple of, I've still got it in fact, it's over there on the trailer, just had a couple of cracks in it, you know, like this but worse. And I thought, well, the people who were selling the T-tops were also selling a tail light, so I asked, and they would they threw it in basically for next to nothing, which was nice. Right, so that is the tour. Oh, hang on, we'll have a look under the bonnet. Have a look at the venerable G16B that the Vitaras are famous for using, and which by default, this being built on the Vitara platform, so this vehicle uses it as well. Here's my Suzuki badge that I just managed to replace the other day. Slightly rusty bonnet. Right, there it is. 16 valve. And as somebody pointed out the other day, it's got extractors. I've put mats in. I've gone to the trouble of taking out the seats so I can clean the carpets. Carpets are tied down, so I didn't actually take them out, but I gave them a good vacuum. And look, you know, they're okay for this sort of vintage. And there's the selector between high and low range. I was talking to a local fellow who has one of these, and he does not have auto hubs at the front. whereas I do. He seemed to think that it wasn't a factory thing, that either my car's been changed over or his car has. I don't know. Certainly makes it easy for me. I just put it in low range, or put it in 4, I should say, and away we go. Light comes up on the dash, and then to take it out of 4-wheel drive, you have to drive in reverse for a very short period of time. It's what the actual instructions tell you to do. Oops, very strange. Right, so why have I parked the car in this hot garage today? Well, it's all to do with the cover on this glass panel. You'll see they have a cover that can sit in there. You just screw it in and it keeps the sun off you until such time as you want the sun to be shining on you, which is not too often in summer here. So I have the cover for the other side, but it's missing one of the fasteners. Where are we? There we are. So I'm hoping that in the interim, until maybe I can find another one or figure out some other way to fix it, that maybe a paper clip or something like that might get around the problem. Anyway, let's try it and test it. Whew, as I keep sweating. Right, so how this works is you twist that knob and some little clasps are made to secure themselves in those things. So we will give it a try. It's easy enough to put in, it's just one side threatens to fall out, so we'll put the blank side in on the right, on the left side, sorry. Okay, and then secure right. So that's secured. That's a stray. Can these fix it? Right, well, nothing really reaches through that hole to clasp the catch, but I tell you what does work, something gently pushed in the weather seal of the window, which can hold that corner up. I'd rather not use a paper clip though, so I went to the kitchen and found an ice cream lid. That should do the job. I'll just gently pull this out. Sort of sitting against rubber there, so I don't really want to be too harsh. You'll see I tried to poke things through the hole, but it just didn't clasp. So if I get my finger out of the way and sit back a bit, let us see if this works. Well, of course it'll work. It's just, will it suffice? That's the question. There we go. That will suffice. If I ever take the thing out, that'll fall out, but that's okay. It's only a piece of ice cream lid. So on that note, I think it's time to start up the car and put it back in its hiding spot, out of the garage. Let's start up the old G16B. Notchy kind of gearbox, gear shift, but long throws, but you know, that's okay. They can't all be snick snick. Hello, the mic is on. Come on, car. Work it through. I haven't had a full investigation on this into spark plugs and leads. I did get my guy to clean out the intake, but he suggested replacing the fuel filter, and I haven't done that yet because he said that where it hooks in is a little bit damaged, so not quite sure how we're going to affix the fuel filter. The right blinker doesn't cancel. I don't know why. Something in the Boss system must have cracked off or broken. It's no huge issue, I just need to remember to turn it off myself. Like that. So it drives a lot like what I imagine a Suzuki Sierra does, pick up every bump. Not a huge amount of power. I mean, obviously this has got a 1600 engine compared to the 1300 for the Sierra, but this would be very similar to the Vitara, on which the chassis is based, or which the chassis comes from. So it's not the car that you would drive to have a very smooth ride. It's made for serious off-roading, and from what I've seen online, these things can certainly handle it. I'd say this one's done an off-road adventure or two, which is how it ended up with so many dents.
A little bit more.
Sugar.
Just a little bit more. Go on. Yeah, go on.
Jeez.